With the after effects of COVID devastating both the tourism and hospitality industry, many businesses in this sector are looking at ways to generate extra revenue to cover the shortfall that they have endured over the last 15 months or so. In this episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Brandon Gonski of Glacier Raft Company, and he will discuss how he actually generates more profit margins from merchandise and retail than he does from his actual tour products. Now, many businesses out there who may be looking at things like virtual tours and other ways of generating revenue haven't really touched upon the actual merchandising opportunities and the retail opportunities within their business. Brandon has done this with many of his businesses, and more so with his latest business, Glacier Raft Company, through other partners like PicThrive and others who have helped him generate that extra revenue and that increased profit margin from retail and merchandise. So I'm sure for many businesses out there watching this or listening to this episode will be wanting to know how he has done this, what he advises on in terms of getting started with merchandise and how you can generate that extra revenue. So welcome to the Digital Tourism Show, episode 258. So, Brandon, like I mentioned, you've had a lot of experience. You've been in the industry for around 15 years or so. But do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background that I maybe did not cover?
Sure. So, yeah, going on almost 20 years in the industry now. Started off growing up in Alaska and kind of got into it because my dad was always a avid kayaker, and we grew up on rafting trips, going out most weekends camping or rafting. And we started off teaching kayaking lessons when I was 15 years old. So that got an early start. My dad is still doing that up in Alaska. And from there, I kind of bounced around until I found my spot and found my passion in actually kind of leading more than just trips, but leading these organizations. And I've had a lot of fun. So moved through, like you said, down in Ecuador, out in Oregon, all over the U.S., a lot of different operations, and I've really enjoyed it, and landed out here in West Glacier, Montana now, just outside of Glacier National Park.
Excellent. And got to ask, how has the pandemic affected you guys over there? Have you managed to stay open to a certain extent, or has been the same as pretty much everywhere else?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting year and a half now. Coming in, just like everyone, we didn't really know what was going to happen, and put everybody on hold and everything on hold for a little while in the spring of 2020. But we ended up being able to take advantage of kind of the enthusiasm of a lot of people to recreate outdoors. So, we could find ways to kind of distance people and, lower the capacity in our shuttles and get out on those rafts and spending time outdoors. Actually worked out really well. We had throughout the season with over 150 employees. We didn't have anyone test positive for anything. We're frequently monitoring everyone, just like everyone did, or at least should have been doing. And we had one positive and it ended up being a super mild case. And that wasn't until the end of August last year. And this year has been fantastic. Everyone is really excited to get back out, and we've seen an earlier start and higher demand than we have in the 45 years this company's been around.
No, it's amazing to hear. No, I'm so glad for you. It's certainly the same here in the UK. Though obviously we have, I don't know if you guys have that over there, but we've been given a sort of green list of places we can travel to, an amber list of places we might be able to travel to, or there seems to be some dubiety over that, and then a red list. And then Portugal was pretty much one of the only European countries on the green list. And the amount of people that just wanted to travel to another destination, they've had to put on extra flights, they've increased massively. So it just shows that the appetite there was certainly there just to get out and explore and do something and travel again. So for any tourism focused business, it's great news to see, and I'm sure that will be the same worldwide as well. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw that Portugal surge in travel over the last couple of weeks. So it's great to see that y'all are able to get out and explore the world a little bit more again.
Yeah, sure, for sure. And I've got family over there, which makes it even better. So it gives me an excuse now to go and see them. So, but no, one of the reasons why we wanted to get you on here, and because we had a discussion, I think it was about a month ago or so now, was that you during that discussion you told me that you typically your business generates more profit margins from your merchandising sort of aspect than you do from your actual tours, which I just found fascinating. I'm sure any operator or activity provider or any business really for that matter listening to that will be just wanting to know more and wanting to find out how they can do a similar thing to generate that extra revenue from business, especially now coming out of COVID. So tell us a bit about how you created the merchandise, how that has worked for your business, and how does it generate that extra profit margin more so than your actual tour products?
Certainly. So I've had this experience at a couple companies now, which has been fantastic, and look forward to continuing to grow that for these guys here in Glacier Raft Company, as well as anyone else who's interested. Happy to continue to chat. But we have three different business lines: lodging, rafting, or lodging, activity tours, and retail. And so if you think about that, if the destination gets them to stay, or if the lodging, or if rather the activity tour is what got them in the door. Well, everyone's passing through the same space. Everyone has needs, whether they want to remember the trip and get some photos of their experience, or they packed the wrong things and it's raining outside my window today. So they might need a raincoat that they left because they were hoping for a nice warm Montana spring. So this is a bit of an oxymoron sometimes, but anyway, identifying those needs for customers has been a big part, and really taking a second to think about why are they going to be in this space and what do they need or what do they think they need while they're there, and really taking the time to step back and analyze what's valuable has been a major driver for our retail sales, and recognizing it, giving that importance. A lot of tour operators look at any retail that they do as secondary, and unfortunately that emphasis and that priority from owners or leadership trickles down. And so you see the guide staff, if you have a guide staff at all, or if you're doing the tours yourselves, feel a little bit more important. And your check-in staff, your retail staff, et cetera, look at themselves as accessories. But if you shift that perspective and make sure everyone knows that each business line is important, and we do look at retail not just as selling a t-shirt to someone who walks in the door because we can, but this is actually a part of our business and a part of why we're here. That shift in perspective really adds some pride, and that happy staff and proud people turn into quality employees and quality salespeople. So that's a major driver for us as well, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And to give a bit of context, what's the type of merchandise that you sell? What would you say works really well for you?
So out here we have two different stores, and we merchandise them both differently. But our operation that does all of our rafting check-ins, we've got a lot of the classic T-shirt, something that says wherever we're at. So we're in Glacier National Park, so emphasizing kind of Glacier and the Middle Fork of the Flathead River. Photos are our number one seller. And photos are great too. We work with a contractor, but I've worked other places where they take them themselves. And when you think about that, what's your margin on photos? It's dang near 100%. You've got your cost of labor, which you're going to have anyway, because they're already staffed in there. And then whatever your infrastructure is to deliver those photos. If you're still making prints or selling CDs or even thumb drives, you might be a little bit behind. It's time to move online, which is, what I've done. I've worked with PicThrive. But that's been our biggest one. And then the other thing in that area is, like I said, it depends on the time of day, but it's a lot of the classic T-shirt. We make sure we get more mid to high quality T-shirts. People feel them now, and people are willing to spend $25 or $30 on something that they think will last and want to remember and that feels good to wear. than that really starchy, $6 shirt now. So those are the two of the areas. I'd say one other thing too is, again, think about where they're at and what they're doing. So for us, they're going out on the water. Classic, axiom in river sports is that cotton. I said cotton kills, like it makes you cold. So we tell everyone not to wear cotton on the river. So, well, they didn't bring a synthetic t-shirt. Well, I've got one for you. So creating that need.
That's it. Yeah, just go for the need. Yeah, I like it. So to give us a bit of context, obviously in general terms, but no, what sort of percentage would you say the business is generated from the merchandise compared to the tours and activities?
I was looking at this last night, actually. So in terms of gross revenues, we're looking at a little over 20% is in retail sales.
Wow.
And that's with an average margin of 50% in gross margin.
Yeah, that's incredible. 20%.
Whereas, our service operations, your gross margin's looking at 30, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's an amazing to think that even you mentioned they're selling things like photographs when people have their mobile. It's something that people can take free and do themselves and everything else, but people still buy photographs. It's incredible that still happens, but it just shows you that people are looking for something that's a little bit more quality, something to remember the moment rather than maybe it's always that person that's taking a picture of whoever they're with, but they're never in the photograph and that sort of stuff. But if you've got photographs with the whole group there or something like that, then that's certainly something that appeals to a lot of people. So,
and something with photography too, everyone has their smartphone, and even if they bring it on the river, we have some trips where they absolutely can. The probability of them dropping it in the river is a little lower than it is on crazy whitewater trips. But they've never done this before. They don't know what that good view is. They don't know where that experience is. And then also that interaction. That's what people want to see. What gets you excited about looking at a video on Instagram or a picture on Instagram or a video on TikTok? It's that interaction and that entertainment value. And you can't get that when you just hold your phone in front of you and hold it out to take a picture of you and your friends. Like, that's great. You got that one memory, but we know what's coming. And so people really see and appreciate that when you can put it in context. But it definitely takes, an effort to make sure you do put that in perspective and know that your photographers aren't someone fresh out of and they absolutely can be someone fresh out of high school, but that you've emphasized, like, hey, think about, don't just go snap pictures, go make memories.
Yeah. And that's it. It's making a memory. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, can't agree more. So I'm sure a lot of people who are listening just now or watching are interested, but are wondering where to start and how to start with retail. It's maybe something they've never even looked at or done before. They're probably even thinking, no one would want to buy a T-shirt from my business name on it and things like that. So what would you say to that, and how can they get started? Basically, what would be the first place to start?
Yeah, so one of the easiest ways to start is to go to your industry trade show. So we've got America Outdoors Association is a great rafting zipline activity association that puts on a conference every year, and they have a big trade show, and a lot of the garment manufacturers come and have reps. But ask your neighbor, ask someone in a different market. Everyone's really open to sharing these ideas and can put you in touch with the right people. But you can also just, Google something. If you think it's interesting, find out. But I would say start small if you're just going for it, but don't be afraid to take a little bit of a risk. And also, I would definitely encourage those people who are just going to try it out to not get some expertise. And I don't mean like go do a bunch of reading. I mean, go ask. If you're looking at, we're talking about hundreds of different designs on these shirts or pants or, whatever. You don't know what your customer necessarily wants because you haven't done it before. And this is something that took me some learning. Just because you like it doesn't mean your customer is going to. And I can, again, say from personal experience, because I like it, my customers probably aren't going to. I seem to have different taste. But the reps are fantastic resources. They know what sold well in other markets. They know what sold well in similar markets, and they can help steer you. They're not perfect. They're not in your store. So certainly use your own judgment, but definitely lean on them, especially in the early days. Buy those full size runs and, look at your area. Think about, again, like I said at the beginning here, think about what your customer actually needs and what they want. Go walk the streets, and what are other people, what are the tourists to your area wearing? Or what are your guests wearing when they walk in the door? Sell them what they already have.
Yeah. No, that's great. Great advice. And in terms of with those starting out, what one product would you say? Would you say it'd be more clothing? Would you say it'd be photographs? Is it something that the reason why I'm asking this is sort of thinking out loud here, but the reason why I'm asking this is, should it be something they invest in stock and get stock in and have a pile of stock sitting there ready, or should it be maybe going to something first that they can maybe do, like photographs, print them out or whatever, as and when they need them? What would you sort of say would be the best place to start in that sort of sense?
I would say the easiest place to start is photos. It's high return, low investment. And if you do that, you just have to, you got to commit to a couple different things. With photos, you don't have to necessarily invest in a new point of sale system. Whereas with, physical goods, you're probably going to need an appropriate retail point of sale. But with photos, you need a camera that's decent, but most importantly, that you know how to use. And then a delivery platform. So, I think PicThrive, I've worked with a few different companies. Everybody's got their advantages. I think PicThrive is a fantastic one. I've worked with them since inception. It's been great. We're one of their first clients, and I've really enjoyed that relationship. But I think more than anything, they provide a really quality product. So I certainly promote them. But with photos, even let's say you're doing a city tour, like a walking tour, if you have an enthusiastic guide, they can create those moments and capture them, and the guests aren't going to even know that you just set up a picture. So they're going to miss that picture. But that, sales is all about, or photos is all about creating that moment. Whereas, so you have a lot more control and a lot lower risk. If you don't sell a single photo this year, well, then you're out the cost of the camera. So maybe you spent $1,000. And, a lot of these photo delivery platforms, particularly online ones, PicThrive is a revenue sharing situation. So they charge per delivery. So if you don't deliver any, they're going to be bummed, and they're going to reach out and try and help you figure out why. But you're not going to be out any money, really. So maybe some small investment in your, how are you going to show those pictures, whether it's on tablets in front of people or on TV screens. I've seen it a number of different ways, or just online galleries.
Oh, good, cool.
Photos, you create that moment, you get out, be enthusiastic.
Yeah, and that's it. No, it's always the best moment captured on photographs, or even in video for that matter. But is when you don't even know it's happening, or you least expect it. It's because it tends to be a lot more casual and natural, and rather than sort of staged and everybody saying cheese and doing that thing. And a lot of people hate getting their photographs taken as well. So if it's something that's really nice and it's just happening in the background that they didn't even know about, it can make a big difference.
Yeah, and I think you can take it to both ranges too. If you are going to do the manufactured moment, the enthusiasm and kind of silliness of someone can create, a unique moment. I think the Gauley River and New River in West Virginia did a great job with that. Years ago, they started this concept of video boaters. So they're taking kayakers and they run around with a camera the whole trip, and they get out and film the rapids, but beforehand and in between, they're videoing the guests, and they're just getting a little bit wild and silly, and it loosens everyone up. I shot pictures for our one of our scenic river trips the other day, and everyone always thinks that the best photo is going to be the whitewater, big wave splash, but that's not what people are buying. You can find that you can't tell who's in that boat. They want pictures. They want to know that it's them. And So I hopped on the bus and I got really excited, and we took pictures of them just waving their hands around in the bus. And then as we're getting ready, posing them on the raft and just making a situation out of it. I came off like just a ridiculous kind of clown. But you know what? Every single one of those guests bought that photo package that day.
Mm-hmm. And if I suppose if the operator gets if the tour guide or whoever gets a little kickback from that, then they're going to be even more enthusiastic to try and do something for you. So
yes, I think that's a fantastic idea. And tracking that, and also those kickbacks I think need to be frequent. So I do the same thing with with our guides get awards for selling the most, for having their album to purchase the most during the year, and we do that 3 times a year in a basically a 3 to 4 month season. And my retail staff, we track a lot of retail like kind of benchmarks are about sales per square foot or average basket size, but most retail locations, brick and mortar, don't have the ability to accurately and quickly count the number of people coming in the door. So with guided operations, we do. I know that 50 people are reserved to come in today. So I know that you had 50 opportunities to sell someone something. So I actually measure their performance on sales per person. And they have specific targets. And they know that if their target is $15 per person, for example, well, photos cost $54. So that's a pretty easy one to do. Sell a photo package to a couple, but you just made $36 per person, $37 per person, or 57 or 27. Thank you. Math's hard this morning. Anyhow, so that's more than 15. That's easy. But it's easy if you put that on a 4-month time period, they forget. So I pay them out monthly on that and make sure we talk about it every day. It's part of their morning stand-up meeting is what's today's goal. We've got 100 people coming in, we need to do $1,000 or $1,500, whatever the goal is. And you can make it up the first time. You can be wrong. It's okay to change things. And I think that's something that a lot of managers are afraid to do, is moving the goalposts. But if you make the goalposts too easy to reach and you realize that 2 weeks in, you can move them. That's okay. Explain that. People want something to reach for. Or if you made it too far, maybe move them closer. That's fine too. But I think that incentive for the staff is huge.
Mm-hmm. No, I can't agree more. I think doing that is a great idea. Like I say, make them enthusiastic to sell a product, which ultimately will make your business generate more revenue in the long run. It's a win-win, really, in my opinion. So you mentioned one of the tools that you've used is PicThrive. So is that the only tool you use, or is there any other tools you would use or recommend to do something along these, do the retail side of things?
Well, so as far as the technology side of things, I really do. I wish I could promote something else as an opportunity. I mean, you could put together Google albums to share with people, but that's going to create a lot of work for you. And at the end of the day, most operators don't have the time or the energy to do it. It's every minute you put in there reduces that revenue. So we have to remember what we're worth as individuals. What do you as the owner, the manager, whatever, bring to the business on an hourly basis or a daily basis? And so balancing that system, I think PicThrive is the best one there from a photo perspective. I've tried a number of different ones. Thumb drives are easy, but they actually take more time than just uploading them to PicThrive. And for the few dollars I'll give away for that photo package, it saves me much more in revenue and time savings. And then point of sale systems, having a good retail oriented point of sale. I've used Vend. That's what I'm currently using is Vend e-commerce, and it's a great system. It's super easy to learn. It's really intuitive. I think I'm big on training. I think it's really important to train your staff. But I have taught someone to make a sale in 3 minutes and then said, all right, I'm going to give you better training next week, but today just do that again. It was that simple. And then I can go in and look at the inventory management and know, I mean, that's how I know what our true margins are on these, this retail side of the business. I'm not just pulling it from QuickBooks or whatever to say, okay, we spent this much on COGS and this much in, retail revenue. So I can go down and look on a SKU by SKU level of what went well. And that helps you learn too. Like we were saying, start small, buy a few different shirt types. If you buy 3 different shirts and label them all as t-shirt in your point of sale system, you're not going to know which one to buy again until you go dig through the boxes that are left over. And that's assuming that you counted everything right. But if you put it all into a point of sale system that tracks them individually, you can see early that you're about to run out of this one shirt and these 2 other ones haven't sold. So I need to reorder this shirt. Staying on top of reorders. Unfortunately, this year, reordering early is going to be big. If you have an established business, put in your July reorders today. Every day I come to a different email or phone call from a rep saying, yeah, that's on back order. Okay, well, till when? August? Okay, cancel the order. I'm going to go find something else.
Yeah, I suppose everyone will be looking to do that just now, and there'll be a bit of a backlog, or even just the delivery of things just at this moment with the way the world is at this moment in time. It's going to be a little bit harder. But...
Yeah, I don't envy my friends in supply chain right now.
So you mentioned PicThrive, and you liked them so much that you've actually became an ambassador for them. So tell us a bit about how that came about, and even just giving a little bit more detail of what PicThrive do for yourself and how that can also help operators as well.
Yeah. So started off with PicThrive. Encountered PicThrive it was one of those emails you get that, you open 1 out of 10. That's like, it was just a cold email sales call. And I read it and I was like, you know what? This might be a good idea. At that point, my previous company, we'd had a pretty good photo sales business up to then. And we'd gone from prints to CDs to thumb drives. And, the owner and marketing team and I had all been talking, and we're discussing giving away our photos, looking at them as a marketing expense instead of a revenue source. And I didn't like that because we were looking at 6-digit photo sales. That's a lot of money, because it's not just lost revenue. You have to turn around and say that's marketing spend now. And that opportunity cost us. It's just like, there's got to be a way to make it easy to get these photos into people's hands and into their Facebook profile or onto their Instagram feed. This was before Instagram was really even as popular as it is now. I guess we might even be moving past that at this point. But anyhow, I was looking for, we wanted to engage with people online because, what's the number one promoter for you? It's no commercial that you've ever put together. It's your former guests. Those guest referrals are just the highest quality lead. So how did we do that? We needed to get pictures because that's how they see it. They're communicating with their friends online now saying, how do I, I'm going to plan a trip to Colorado or Montana or Oregon, Ecuador, wherever. I saw your picture that you went rafting. How was that? And they're like, oh my God, you have to go. It was the coolest thing ever. We went with Glacier Raft Company. That promoter, big on net promoter scores too. But that was the biggest, thing for us. And we were willing to give up, 6 figures in revenue to get that. And then I heard from PicThrive and they said, that's what we want to do, but we don't want to give it away. We want you to make money. And so we worked on it, and they found an easy way, they were offering an easy way to not only provide photos directly to the guests online, eliminating all the time I took uploading them from camera and then downloading them to a memory stick and then physically handing it to the guests, which they then lose and call us and say, I lost my pictures. Can you send me new ones? And then we've got to go to the mail, and it's awful. It's a pain in the butt. So PicThrive was like, we create these albums. You download your pictures, go to this website, and you just drag and drop, put them in this album, and now they're available for your guests to see. You can sort it, you can name it whatever. So we've named all of ours based on the trip and the guide, so they're really easy to find for both me and for the guest. Then the guest goes to a tablet or the internet, either one, and they type in their guide's name, their pictures pop up. They flip through them, they love them, they just press buy. And, oversimplifying a little bit, but it really is a pretty short process in the purchasing stream. So we saw that email, picked up the phone, gave him a call, and we talked through it. And we just kind of kept talking. And one of the founders there, Neil, is just a really interesting guy, great background. His story was pretty cool too. Went on, a trip and didn't want to carry the seed of all the experiences he did around, so I had to find an easier way. And it's a great idea. But we just bounced ideas back and forth, and they've been extremely responsive. I'd say 6 out of 10 ideas that I give them, they've implemented, and I'd say that's a pretty great ratio. Other companies, I maybe get 1 out of 100. So that just, we just kept talking over time, and helped work with them, promoted them to a couple other outfitters in the Colorado area, which is where I was when I, started working with them. And our photo sales have gone up, and so have our engagements. And now we can measure that. I can look into this dashboard in PicThrive and see how many times this album's been opened. I can see that this album by this guide was opened 280 times. That's huge. That's 280 potential referrals. So now I know that guide is doing a great job, that photographer got good pictures, and that my marketing dollars are being well used. And actually my marketing dollars are revenue instead of expenditure. So that's kind of over time, we talked and got through there. And about a year ago, I was talking to Neil. I was actually flying to Montana, I think. Talked to him in the airport, and he was like, "Hey, we are looking to continue to build this and promote this, and we work, so closely together over time. It only makes sense for you to talk to us about that." And so we've worked together since then. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds it. It's great. And it shows, the fact that you've become an ambassador for them, it shows that they're also doing something right, and they've helped your business out, and as you say, been very responsive. So that's a good sign. As you say, there's many businesses out there, whether it's OTAs or not, big businesses who, as you say, it's 1 in every 100, if probably 1 in every 1,000 that maybe get back to you on and maybe implement. But it's good that they've been that responsive for you. It's a great sign of a great company.
Yeah. And, they've scaled up and down. They've kind of gone through the wave, especially through COVID, as far as number of staff. But everyone, when I've gotten assigned a sales rep in the past, they've been even more responsive. To have a direct line to the owner is fantastic, but no business can expect that, and not in perpetuity. But if your sales reps are just as responsive, and then you see that development that you mentioned to a sales rep 4 weeks later, I think that's an unbelievable turnaround and the sign of a fantastic company. So I really enjoy PicThrive. I mean, the whole team's fantastic. They're fun to work with.
No, good to hear. Good to hear. So before we finish up and go and ask the last question, if anyone has any questions for Brandon, please do make sure you add them to the comments. We'll show them up on screen, and we'll hopefully get them answered for you as well. Whether that's anything on retail, how to set it up, any of the tools, anything you want to ask, please feel free. So I suppose that the final thing to ask you, Brandon, if anyone did want to pick your brains or wanted to know more, what's the best way of getting in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I love these conversations, so reach out at any time. LinkedIn is probably one of the best and most reliable ways to find me. So Brandon Gonski, it's on the screen there, Gonski. Where anyone can feel free to shoot me an email as well. It's just Brandon@glacierraftco.com is a good reliable one.
Excellent.
But yeah.
Excellent.
I try to stay up with everyone on LinkedIn, and it's always fun when people reach out that I can learn a little bit about you before we hop on the phone or something. And so maybe I can be more effective if you reach out and need some help.
Excellent. But before we sort of see if we get any questions, is there anything in terms of a merchandise item or whatever that you've tried and it just simply didn't work for any reason? No, we've talked about photographs, something that worked really well, but what's that maybe one thing you thought that would be such a great idea and it absolutely bombed? But no, just anything funny or anything? Is there anything that maybe springs to mind?
I still have a box of 500 tiny inflatable rafts, just like little novelty blow up rafts. We sold 2. I don't think I can give them away, but that was one. Another one, but like one that you might think like it actually could do well. The market we were in, we sold like some picture frames and coffee cups, because that's a popular item you see at these trade shows. Everybody's got their logoed coffee cup, and the market we tried those in, it just didn't work. I think it took us 4 years to sell through a couple of cases of those, and that was a bummer. It's funny I say that though, because we have those here and they sell great. So it's all about knowing your market. Why are people there? Something else I think on merchandising that gets underplayed is giving your team, one, just learning about merchandising, how to lay out your floor, but giving your team some authority and some education on that. For example, like I said, it's raining here right now, but it was 75 degrees a couple days ago. Fahrenheit, obviously. And we need to rotate the floor, because what people are interested in when they walk in the door, when it's 75, 80 degrees and it's a hot, sunny day, is not the same thing they're interested in when it's cold and raining. So on those cold days, the staff needs to not only have the awareness, but the authority to go move the displays around and bring those raincoats up to the front of the building, front of the floor. That makes a big difference. What you show people is what's going to sell. If they have to dig for it, you might have a great design that's hidden away and you're not going to know. So I think also that's a good way to test too, is especially for people learning, if they're just getting into this, rotate your floor every week. Move different designs in different places and see if they sell differently. You have to measure it, but
like any form of marketing, you always have to measure it, see how effective it is. So
that's a valuable thing for people to do.
Definitely. And I suppose in a way, it's looking at, as you sort of alluded to earlier on, it's looking at what people don't have on them, but also looking at what they do, what they are carrying, sort of recyclable water bottles or whatever, all these other things that people are starting to carry around, and all these little things that could help give you ideas and spark ideas in terms of merchandise items yourself and stuff like that. So looking at what your actual customers are bringing with them. So
great point. I think also, you can take that a step further. I read Sam Walton's memoir the other day, or the other week, and the founder of Walmart, and something that I really took away from that was just his passion for it. And anywhere he'd go on vacation and he wanted to go to the local discount store, go shop your competition. When you go on vacation, don't think of it just as vacation. We're entrepreneurs here. You've got to always have that mind on and see what's, go into those stores and ask the owners, ask the managers what sells. Mm-hmm. 'Cause you can learn from them too. Most of us are willing to share information. If you're not in my market, you're not a competitor right now. I'm happy to share. It's a community in that regard. And if you are in my market, we can still talk.
Well, that's it. If you're a tour guide, you're in another destination or a similar destination, you want to try other people's tours to see what they're doing right, wrong, or what ideas you can steal for your own business and things like that. So it's retail will be no different. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I can see one question that's just came in from Michelle Harding, and that must be, I think it's about PicThrive. Can clients buy more than just sort of downloads and prints? Does PicThrive do things like canvases and things like that as well? Or what sort of items is it that they help you out with?
Previously, I know that they've connected and been able to do canvas prints delivered. The primary function there is giving people access to the high-res images so that they can do it themselves. I'm embarrassed to say I have to double check to find out whether that's something that they're doing. I know that we've done it, in the past where you could get it printed on coffee cups or things like that.
She's actually just asked another question. It's just popped up here. Maybe you've got a buyer for your floating rafts. But curious, does your water rafts hold a mug and still floats?
That's a good question. I think they would hold maybe a few beers in them closed. You use it like a little floating cooler, but no.
Maybe that's how to sell them. Just sort of sell them as beer coolers so that you can float when you're in the water and stuff like that. Maybe that's it. I'll tell you one thing, I know my kid would love them. He would love that sort of inflatable rafting boat and stuff like that. He loves boats and everything else. So maybe try to sell it to the kids to force the parents to buy it. Maybe that's, that's something you could do.
That's what I thought would happen, when I got them. I was like, kids will love these, but...
Yeah, Michelle just wrote up there saying swimming pool. So yeah, I love it in a swimming pool. But, yeah. So there we go.
I had no luck, so maybe I can find them. And Michelle, you can do better than I did.
Well, I can't see any more questions, which means that I would take that as you've given a great chance, letting people know what retail, how you can do it, what it entails, how it can help you grow your own business. And again, I think with the effects of COVID and all the last 14 months haven't been great for a lot of businesses, that we're all looking at ways to generate revenue, and if it means doing something with photographs or adding the odd product to your lineup that you can then sell, that it's something that people want, then to me, it's a no-brainer. No, you should be maybe doing something like that. And as you have proven with the many businesses you've helped and your current one, it can certainly help you raise, even generate more profit margins than your actual products itself. And at the end of the day, that's a great thing. And everyone will be looking for that at this moment in time.
Yeah, if you're not doing it, you're leaving money on the table. You got to at least give it a try. It's a low risk way to do it. So I made me think of something too, actually. You can always ask the reps too about, buybacks. I've had some who are willing to, if you don't sell through something, they'll buy it back from you and help you mitigate that risk. They won't always do that. Not every manufacturer will, not every product does, but you do have that option sometimes. So it's always worth asking about. And get terms.
That's good to know. Well, Brandon, I can't thank you enough. I think it's a fascinating topic. It's one that, though, when you told me earlier on, the revenue that it produces, it blew my mind. Considering today when everything's online, people get access to things and everything else, that it still works very, very well for you. And again, hopefully it highlights to some other businesses listening and watching that they can do this themselves and implement it themselves. And so just again, if they want to get in touch, what's the best way? It's through LinkedIn and your email address, wasn't it?
Yeah, that email is brandon@glacierraftco.com.
Well, Brandon, thanks again. And please do keep in touch, and hopefully we'd love to see what happens next with your business.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. This has been great.